Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, namaskaram, namaskar, and vanakkam. Welcome to Bob's Radio 21.37 FM, and this is Bob with you. Dear listeners, thank you once again for joining us on the first day of our week on our Motivational Mondays. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we broadcast every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at exactly 11:07 p.m. India time, 8:37 Bahrain, and 9:37 p.m. UAE, and 6:37 UK. For those of you who are listening us from the US, thank you so much for joining us today. It's such an amazing and interesting fact to know that now we have listeners joining us from all over the world. Thank you so much for those encouraging words and for the comments and for the wonderful feedback that you have been giving us. It is an amazing journey and it is so special because you are with us on this journey. So thank you so much for joining us. In fact, I have my co-RJ, RJ Jacob G with me in the studio. Jacob G, എന്തൊക്കെയുണ്ട് വിശേഷം?
ഹായ് ബോബ്, സുഖമായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. എന്തൊക്കെയുണ്ട് വിശേഷം?
സുഖമായിരിക്കുന്നു. എന്ത് പറയുന്നു? എന്തായിരുന്നു നമ്മുടെ വീക്കെൻഡ് സ്പെഷ്യൽ?
വീക്കെൻഡ് സ്പെഷ്യൽ വലിയ സ്പെഷ്യൽ ആയിരുന്നു. ലോകമെമ്പാടുമുള്ള ജനങ്ങൾ സന്തോഷത്തിന്റെയും സമൃദ്ധിയുടെയും സമാധാനത്തിന്റെയും പ്രതീകമായ ഓണം ആഘോഷിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു.
തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും. യുനോ, ഓണം എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ പല ഓർമ്മകളാണ് മനസ്സിലേക്ക് വരുന്നത് അല്ലേ?
തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും.
പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നത് ഈവൻ എക്സ്പാട്രിയേറ്റ്സ് ആയിട്ട് കേരളത്തിന് പുറത്ത് താമസിക്കുന്ന ദോ വി ആർ ഓൾ in one way or the other staying away from Kerala. I know there are listeners who are listening to us from Kerala, but for all those who are outside, it's always a joy to remember those old days, when we were back there, and those school holidays അല്ലേ, പഴയ കാലങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഓർത്ത് വരുമ്പോഴല്ലേ?
പഴയ പൂക്കളം ഇടിയിലും വടംവലി മത്സരവും കലം തല്ലിപ്പൊട്ടിക്കൽ മത്സരവും ഒക്കെ ഓർമ്മ വരുന്നുണ്ട് ഇപ്പൊ.
അത് തന്നെ അതൊരു പ്രത്യേക ഒരു ദിവസം ഞാൻ ഓർക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഓണത്തിന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു 10 ദിവസം സ്കൂളിൽ നിന്ന് അവധി കിട്ടുമെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു അല്ലേ?
അതെ, 10 ദിവസം അവധിയുണ്ട്. ഓണക്കാലം ഓർമ്മ വരുമ്പോ ബോബിന് എന്താണ് ഓർമ്മ?
എന്റെ ഓർമ്മകൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഈ പിന്നെ ഓണം അവധിയുടെ സമയത്താണ് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ നമ്മുടെ VBS-ഉം അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ബാലസംഘം, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ YMEF ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള പ്രോഗ്രാം, ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ക്യാമ്പുകൾ ഒക്കെ നടക്കുന്ന ഈ സമയത്താണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഈ ഓണക്കാലത്തിന് വേണ്ടി വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാണ് ഇതൊക്കെ ഒന്ന് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി. പിന്നെ മാത്രമല്ല, വീടുകൾ ഒത്തിരി നമ്മുടെ ബന്ധുക്കാരുടെ വീടുകളിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നു, പലരെ കാണുന്നു. നല്ല ഒരു സന്തോഷത്തിന്റെ ഒരു സമയമാണ്, നല്ല ഓർമ്മകളാണ് അല്ലേ?
തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും. അതെ, തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും. പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പൊ അതിനൊരു ചെറിയ ഒരു കൊറോണ കാരണം ആൾക്കാർക്കൊരു ഒത്തുചേരലൊന്നും പറ്റാത്ത ഒരു സാഹചര്യം കൂടാണിപ്പോ.
അതെ തന്നെ. അത് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു പലർക്കും ഈ പ്രാവശ്യം നാട്ടിൽ പോകാനോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സാധാരണഗതിയിൽ നമ്മൾ നാട്ടിൽ പോകുന്ന ഒരു സമയമാണ് ഈ ജൂലൈ ഓഗസ്റ്റ് പീരീഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അല്ലേ? സ്കൂൾ അവധിയാണ്,
സ്കൂളൊക്കെ അവധിയാണ്, കുട്ടികളൊക്കെ അവധിയാണ്. പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരുമിച്ച് 10 ദിവസം ഒരുമിച്ചിരിക്കാം. ഇപ്പൊ സ്കൂള് തുറന്നിട്ട് വേണ്ട അവധി കൊടുക്കാൻ.
അത് തന്നെ. എന്തായാലും നല്ല ഓർമ്മകളാണ്. നമുക്ക് തിരിഞ്ഞു നോക്കുമ്പോൾ നല്ല ഓർമ്മകളാണ് നമുക്ക് അതോടുള്ള ബന്ധത്തിൽ. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു നമുക്ക് ആ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ലെറ്റ്സ് കീപ് ടോക്കിംഗ് അബൌട്ട് those wonderful days and what Onam really means to us as Malayalis, as non-Malayalis, as Indians all over the world. What does that really mean? What is the significance of that? And we have a speaker that is joining us today to give us a wonderful thought. We have some wonderful segments, but let's begin as always with our song number 1, Who Am I?
Who am I that the eyes that see my sin would look on me with love and watch me rise again? Who am I that the voice that calmed the sea call out through the rain and calm the storm in me? Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I am a flower quickly fading, here today and gone tomorrow, a wave tossed in the ocean, a vapor in the wind.
Wow, I am yours. What a wonderful reminder and what a beautiful song that tells us who we really belong to, and that is the Lord Jesus Christ. Well, that was a wonderful song. Now let's see what our kids have for us. It's been a while since we've heard them, so let's go to our kids segment and see what they have to talk to us.
Bob's Radio 21.37, keep bobbing along.
Hi kids! Last time when you came on air, you said you were going to attend the VBS. How did it go?
Hello listeners! Hey Bob! Hi Ajay Jacob ji! Yes, we had an amazing time at the VBS last week. Our theme this year was the patriarchs. We learned about the life of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob and how they came to be known as the patriarchs. A patriarch is another name for forefathers or the first fathers from whom the nation of Israel was formed. Abraham took the leap of faith and left his hometown of Ur and went to the place God said, even though he did not know where that place was. That is why he is rightly called the father of all nations. God kept all the promises he had made to Abraham, provided Abraham obeyed God fully. Kali, did you know that Abraham's actual name was Abram and God later changed it to Abraham? Hey Carlos and Kathy, we saw that Abraham left all he had and God gave him and his descendants the promised land, Canaan, as an inheritance. Kali, we didn't mention the main truths we learned on all 4 days. Let me begin on day 1 we learned. Trust God to keep his promises just like Abraham did. Day 2, we learned about how Abraham loved God so much he was willing to give his only son, Isaac, as a sacrifice when God asked him. Luckily, it was only to test Abraham's faith. So the main truth was, obey God even when it's hard. On day 3, we learned about Jacob taking the birthright and blessings that belonged to Esau by deceiving his father and brother and had to run away from home. Main truth learned was let God be in charge. On day 4, we learned that Jacob lived with Laban and finally returned home when he allowed God to change him. So that was a summary of what we learned for the VBS. This is Bob's Radio. Keep bobbing along. Bye!
Bye, kids. Thank you once again for telling us what you learned in the VBS and in those CEF sessions. You know, like I was speaking to Jacob G earlier, these are the times during the holidays we get to spend time, enjoy the VBSs, enjoy these sessions. So I'm happy that the kids were able to do that. Now let's go to our English audio soundbite section and let's hear Mary Lijish.
Hello friends, you're listening to Bob's Radio. Keep bobbing along. Take a pause and think for a moment. What can we gift anyone with? Anyone? What can we give them? Every day, everywhere. Dear friends, we can gift a lot of things to people around us. To our friends, we can gift loyalty. To our boss, sincerity. To our kids, good example. To those who offend and hurt us, forgiveness. To our parents, gratitude. To our spouse, faithfulness. To a stranger, a little care and concern. And to each other, respect. So let's gift each other these beautiful attributes of God which He has filled us with too, and be a blessing to many. So dear, keep bobbing along Bob's Radio. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lijish, Mary Lijish, for that wonderful thought. You know, like she said, let's gift each other forgiveness, gratitude, faithfulness, care, and very importantly, respect. Let that be a reminder to us. Thank you so much for that. Well, who do I have here with me in the virtual studio? Hi, Ajay Liz. How are you doing?
Hi, Bob. I'm doing great. I'm filling in for
Ajay Bet.
Yes.
Well,
today.
all right. Let's see what we have today on our game segment.
All right. So today's segment or today's game, which we're going to play this week, is called guess the code word.
Guess the code word.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have to be detectives here. I will be asking some questions, and the first alphabet of each of those answers forms the code word. So if you can guess all the answers correctly, you can easily identify the code word. Remember, the order of the questions remains the same as the code word, and it will not be jumbled up. So, for example, Bob, can you help me guess this code word?
All
Ready?
right. I'll try.
Okay. First question. This king wanted John to be beheaded.
King wanted John to be beheaded. Oh, Herod.
Yes.
Okay.
So keep H in mind. Second question. She is the mother of all living.
Mother of all living. Eve.
Correct. So keep E in mind. Third one. Brother of Moses.
Brother of Moses.
Come on. That's an easy
Come
one.
on, listeners, help me out. Brother of Moses. Let's go. Come on. Who's that? Brother of Moses.
Okay. Somebody's putting the answer there.
All right. Let's see who puts the answer in and helps me out. Okay. Yes, it's Aaron. Thank you.
Okay. So keep A in mind. And the fourth question. She was a seller of purple.
She was a seller of purple. Come on, listeners. Let's get this one. She was a seller of purple. Now this is the New Testament.
Yes.
Let's go with Lydia.
Right. So if you put all the words together, the first alphabets, what's the code word?
Well, H from Herod, E from Eve, A from Aaron, and L from Lydia. That gives us the word heal.
Good job, Bob. So I hope you all listeners, you have understood this game. So here's the questions for today's code word. Okay, all of you ready? The first question, who was the first king of Israel? Okay, who was the first king of Israel? Second question, this king had a sundial. This king had a sundial. Third question, this country is mentioned in Esther chapter 1 and verse 1. This country is mentioned in Esther chapter 1 and verse 1. And the fourth question, the longest book in the Bible. Here's a clue, it has 150 chapters. Okay, so if you put all the answers together,
I
you will...
think, Liz, maybe we need to repeat the questions again because the first time our listeners are doing this game.
Okay.
Can we do that again? Let's do the questions again, all four of them.
And also it will be posted in the chat box, so you
Excellent.
can look at that for easy reference. I'll repeat the questions again. First question, who was the first king of Israel? Second question, this king had a sundial. Third question, this country is mentioned in Esther chapter 1 verse 1. And fourth question, the longest book in the Bible. So please send in the correct answer to our email bobsradio21.37@gmail.com, or you can even WhatsApp at us at the number +91 906 181 7307. So hope those answers keep coming in, and I'll join you tomorrow for the second code word.
All right, so let's get the code word. Let's crack the code, listeners. Let's crack this code. Let's get those answers coming in. Love it that you are all participating. Thank you for helping me out. I'm not really good at this game, so I hope my listeners can help me out as we go along. All right, thank you so much, Liz, for joining us today on our game segment.
Thank you so much.
Now with that, let's go to our song number 2 for today, All I Can Do.
It would have been easy, but I'm glad you never walked away. 'Cause your love runs deep for me, and I see this beautiful world, and it brings tears to my eyes. And I think it's beautiful to be free. All I can do is thank you for this life I never deserved. Wanna thank you for the grace I know I don't have to earn. You love me, your mercy is proof. All I can do is say thank you. All I can do is say thank you. Thank you. Oh, for hope, for love, for all the ways you move. Yeah, for everything you do. Well, what else can I say but thank you? Thank you.
Wow, what else can I say but thank you. And that is all that we can say in our lives. Well, that was a wonderful song. Jacob ji, coming back to നമ്മുടെ ഓണം
ഓണം.
ഓർമ്മകൾ. അതെ അതെ
അതെ.
അതെ അതെ.
ഓണം
ശരിക്കും
ഓണം
yeah.
എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ശരിക്കും ഒരു വിളവെടുപ്പിന്റെ ഉത്സവം കൂടിയാണ്.
അതെ 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 അതെ. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ഫെസ്റ്റിവൽ ഓഫ് താങ്ക്സ് ഗിവിംഗ് ഫോർ ദ ഹാർവെസ്റ്റ്. അപ്പം ഞാൻ ഈ ഹാർവെസ്റ്റ് ഫെസ്റ്റിവലിനെ പറ്റി ഇങ്ങനെ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ചെറുതായിട്ടൊന്ന് വായിച്ചു നോക്കുമായിരുന്നു. സോ വാട്ട് ഐ ഫൗണ്ട് ഔട്ട് സം ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ഫാക്ട്സ്. ശരിക്കും ഇത് ലോകത്തിൽ പലയിടത്തും സെലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ജേക്കബ് ജി അറിയോ?
അതെ, നമ്മുടെ തൊട്ടടുത്ത അയൽ സംസ്ഥാനമായ തമിഴ്നാട്ടിൽ ഇതിന് പൊങ്കാല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് അവർ ആഘോഷിക്കുന്നത്.
അതെ, പൊങ്കൽ പൊങ്കൽ
പൊങ്കൽ പൊങ്കൽ
പൊങ്കൽ അതെ അതെ അതെ, പൊങ്കൽ. ഇത് വളരെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആണ്. സോ ആസ് ഐ വാസ് റീഡിങ് അബൌട്ട് ദീസ് ഹാർവെസ്റ്റ് ഫെസ്റ്റിവൽസ്, ഇതിന് അമേരിക്കയിൽ വളരെ ക്ലോസ് ആയിട്ട് നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരു സെലിബ്രേഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. അതിന് താങ്ക്സ് ഗിവിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമുക്ക് കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ, അമേരിക്കയിലെ താങ്ക്സ് ഗിവിംഗ്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ അതുപോലുള്ള പല ട്രഡീഷൻസും പല രാജ്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ മലേഷ്യയിൽ ദിസ് ഇസ് കോൾഡ് ആസ് ദ കടസാൻ ഫെസ്റ്റിവൽ ആൻഡ് they believe that there is no life without rice, and the Kadasan festival, it celebrates the extension of the creator, the source of life. അങ്ങനെ പിന്നെ കൊറിയയിലേക്ക് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ in Korea this is called as the Chuseok harvest festival. That is also commemorating the harvest, and it's a Thanksgiving tradition, and families and ancestors, they come together, they have memorial celebrations. And then when you look at Germany also, it is similar to that. They have a name, Erten Dankfest. it is also a celebration. അതെ. അപ്പോൾ പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ in China it is called the Harvest Moon Festival. അവിടെ it's also a celebration about the harvest. പിന്നെ interestingly, in Israel, this is also celebrated. Now, this holiday this is a biblical holiday, and this is celebrated on the 15th day of Tishrei. That is between September and late October. So it is a time where the Jewish people reflect on the struggles of Israelites during their 40-year travel through the desert after the exodus from slavery. അപ്പോൾ അതിന് ആ ഒരു യാത്രയെ അനുസ്മരിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സെലിബ്രേഷനാണ് ഈ സുക്കോത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ അവർ അതേ രീതിയിൽ ഒരു സീസൺ ഓഫ് റിജോയ്സിങ്, സന്തോഷത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു സീസണായിട്ട് അവിടെയും അവർ സെലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. പിന്നെ ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ കേട്ടതുപോലെ നമ്മുടെ തൊട്ടടുത്തുള്ള അയൽ സംസ്ഥാന തമിഴ്നാട്ടിലെ പൊങ്കൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. അതെ അതെ. പിന്നെ ഇതിന് ഈവൻ ചൈനയിൽ വരെ ഇതിങ്ങനെ ഈ രീതിയിൽ ഒരു താങ്ക്സ് ഗിവിംഗ് ആയിട്ട്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഒരു ഹാർവെസ്റ്റ് താങ്ക്സ് ഗിവിംഗ് ആയിട്ടൊക്കെ വളരെ അനേക രാജ്യങ്ങൾ ഇത് സെലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് അല്ലേ?
അതെ അതെ, ഓരോരുത്തർക്ക് ഓരോ പേരാന്നേ ഉള്ളൂ. അതെ അതെ. നമ്മൾ ഈ കേരളത്തിലേക്ക് തിരിച്ചു വരുവാണെങ്കിൽ ഇതൊരു ഐതിഹ്യമായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കാണുവാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. മാവേലി നാടുവാണിടും കാലം മനുഷ്യരെല്ലാരും ഒന്നുപോലെ ആമോദത്തോടെ വസിക്കും കാലം, കള്ളവുമില്ല ചതിയുമില്ല എള്ളോളം പുളിവചനം.
അതെ.
അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഈ സന്തോഷത്തിന്റെയും സമൃദ്ധിയുടെയും സമാധാനത്തിന്റെ ഒക്കെ ഒരു കാലം ശരിക്കും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നോ? അതോ ഇനി എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു കാലം വരുമോ നമുക്കങ്ങനെ?
അതെ, അതൊരു വലിയൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ് കേട്ടോ. അത് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും വളരെ പ്രസക്തിയുള്ളൊരു ചോദ്യമാണ്. കാരണം സന്തോഷത്തിൻ്റെയും സമാധാനത്തിൻ്റെയും മനുഷ്യരെല്ലാവരും ഒന്നുപോലെ ശരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ചിന്തിക്കേണ്ട ഒരു ചോദ്യം തന്നെയാണ്. ഐ തിങ്ക് ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ദാറ്റ് വി ഓൾ നീഡ് ടു തിങ്ക് അബൌട്ട്. ഇൻഡീഡ്, ഈസ് ദെയർ എ ടൈം ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഗോയിങ് ടു കം വെൻ വി ആർ ഓൾ ഈക്വൽ, വെൻ വി ഓൾ സെലിബ്രേറ്റ്, വെൻ ദർ ആർ നോ മോർ ടിയേഴ്സ്, വെൻ ദർ ഇസ് ഓൺലി joy, when there is only thanksgiving? Is there a time that is going to come like that? Now, to answer that question and to talk about all that, we have a special guest with us. Appo pulkarne vilikette Jacob ji.
Vilicho idine uttarokke choichittu vida.
Ade. So we have today with us none other than godly Koshy from Bangalore. So it's a Bangalorean who's coming to talk to us about this today. He was born in Sharjah, UAE, to Christian parents. He He's now happily married to Rebecca Godley and has a 1.5-year-old baby boy named Ivan. He's finished his studies in MA in Family Life Education from the Martin Luther Christian University in the US. And he and his family are serving the Lord full time among the youths from different parts of India. Now let's talk to godly Koshy Raju.
Bob's Radio 21.37, keep bobbing along.
Hey, Godly, thank you so much for coming on to Bob's Radio.
Hey Bob, it's a privilege to come back again, and I'm just listening to all that you're speaking. It's so interesting, huh? So many celebrations with the same name in different places.
Absolutely, absolutely. We don't often think about that, but then it's something that is celebrated all over the world. That's what I think. Coming as a person who has lived all your life outside of Kerala, what are your experiences about Onam, and can you share something about that?
Oh well, it's interesting how I never knew about Onam, but in college, for some reason, some chetas and chechis decided to give a celebration in college, and I was like, yes, let's do this. But I don't know what was happening because they were preparing so much, and so the only thing I could do is wear my munda, but my munda had one belt also on top of it. And then they had
we've all been there.
Yeah, so we had Vadamvalli, we had a Chendakot with Maha-Bali coming, and there was a bullock cart. The Chendakot was so phenomenal. I've never heard people play the drums so well, the Chenda so well, and with synchronization. Oh my gosh, it gives me goosebumps. And there was Pookalam, and the best part was there was a sack race. And I took part in it. Yeah. And actually, me and my partner, we came second. And I took part with the mund on. ഒരു പേടി ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു മുണ്ട് താഴോട്ട് വീഴുമെന്ന്.
അതൊരു വലിയ സാഹസമായിരുന്നു.
Yes. Yeah. And then, പിന്നെ food ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. Food was there. And so, yeah, I think my mouth started watering. So, yeah, that was my experience, my first experience in college, actually.
Wow.
Yes.
No, we go through these wonderful experiences, in college and in universities and schools. But then, do we really know why we celebrate Onam, or why people in Kerala, as in the Malayali folks, wherever they are, be it in Kerala or in other places, they always make it a point to celebrate Onam. Do you know why it is celebrated?
Actually, I looked it up some time back because I was wondering why Onam was celebrated, and it's actually a mythological story about one king called Maha-Bali. I don't know if you've heard, but and he's like Asura, a demon king, and he ruled the earth. In Kerala, and it's interesting how he was generous. He was a king. And his rule was a golden era, and he treated everyone equally. There was egalitarian principles that were observed in society with no exceptions and all that. So his rule was really good. But what happened was Maha-Bali defeated the gods and took over the three worlds. That's what they say. And so all the gods were kind of irritated with that. You know how it is, right? And then they go and complain to Lord Vishnu. And then the Lord Vishnu agreed to help these gods. So now Vishnu he comes in the new avatar as a Vamana, and he comes in that avatar, and he agrees to claim help these people out. So he comes to King Maha-Bali, and he says, what, can you give me land? To keep 3 feet, 3 feet of land. So Maha-Bali, being so generous, he said, what? Yeah, I will give you. And so he gives the land, and then this is what happens. Vamana is actually Vishnu, right? So he starts growing. He starts growing and growing and growing and growing, and then his one leg is on earth, and the other leg is on the sky, and he doesn't have the place for the third place, right? So Maha-Bali promised him for 3 feet of land. So what happened? Maha-Bali offers his head as the third step. So Vishnu was very impressed by all this, and he said, "Okay, every year I will give you permission to come and visit your people, and this is the return of this king Mahabali during the Onam time. So that's the 10 days of during this time, every home is celebrating, and all the peoples are equal, and there's a denial of egocentric existence and almost that. So basically, it's the return of this King Mahabali. That's what it is.
Right. Now, these, now we know that this is a myth, this is a story that has been
Yeah.
created,
True.
and, the whole thing surrounds this made up story. Now, these kind of myths and these kind of stories, they come from the deep earning of people for a
Yeah.
particular thing that they want to see. Now, like we said, the whole idea of giving up himself, sacrificing, his kingdom, and going away, and letting that third step to be on his head, so that his people would remain happy. Now, like Jacob ji was saying, Maveli Nadu Vanidu Kalam, മനുഷ്യരെല്ലാവരും ഒന്നുപോലെ, പക്ഷേ മനുഷ്യരെല്ലാവരും ഒന്നുപോലെ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു വസ്തുത യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ഈ ഓണം കഴിഞ്ഞ അടുത്ത ദിവസം നമുക്ക് നഷ്ടപ്പെടുകയാണ്. The day of Onam, people around the world, they celebrate all this equality and lack of egos, and being humble, being more suffering, and being more accommodating. എല്ലാം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട്, ഓണം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് പിറ്റേ ദിവസം ഇതെല്ലാം അങ്ങോട്ട് മാറ്റി വെച്ചിട്ട് അവിടെ പിന്നെ സമത്വമില്ല, പിന്നെ സന്തോഷമില്ല, പിന്നെ ഐക്യതയില്ല, പിന്നെ ഐക്യദാർഢ്യമില്ല, ഒന്നും കാണുവാനായിട്ട് ശരിയില്ല. പാവപ്പെട്ടവനും പിന്നെ പണക്കാരനും തമ്മിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് വളരെ വലുതാണ്. അപ്പം വാസ്തവത്തിൽ ഈ ഒരു പറയുന്ന ഈ സമത്വം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സന്തോഷം, സമാധാനം, ഇതൊക്കെ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ഇൻ ദ ട്രൂ സെൻസ് ഓഫ് പീസ് ആൻഡ് ഇക്വാലിറ്റി ഡ്യൂറിങ് ദീസ് ടൈംസ്, ഇസ് ദാറ്റ് റിയലി ട്രൂ, or is it just a facade? Is it just a made up thing, or is there somewhere where we find the truth behind this?
Well, it's actually something to think about, because everyone's working towards equality, egalitarian culture, and some level pursuing it, on their own even, But the big question is, can it be achieved ever? അതല്ലേ ചോദിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മൾ ഈ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. യൂട്ടോപ്പിയ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു വേർഡ് ഉണ്ട്. യുവർ യൂട്ടോപ്പിയൻ സൊസൈറ്റി. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ പ്ലേസ് ഓഫ് ഐഡിയൽ പെർഫെക്ഷൻ, especially in the laws and government and social condition. It's perfect, basically utopia, right? And everyone's imaginations and dreams and expectations, they think that this will be possible. But according to me, it's not possible. It's not possible except for one person, through this one person.
Now, what do you mean? What do you mean? How can all this be fulfilled in one person? Because we have seen so many isms. Pala isms നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്, പല നേതാക്കന്മാരും എഴുന്നേറ്റ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. All these isms, they have tried and failed. So when you say you see this fulfilled in a person, can you tell us who that is?
Actually, I'm just talking none other than Jesus Christ, right? And I think that this will be fulfilled when Jesus Christ comes back again. He's already come, now he's coming back again, right? And he will provide a perfect life under his leadership, and it will be a perfect time. I don't want to just talk a lot, but I just want to read some verses from the Bible. And
Please.
that will kind of help us understand this. Okay, Revelation 21 verse 3 and 4, it says, God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall be there mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore. Can you imagine that that kind of a place? Isaiah chapter 11, the first few verses says this: with righteousness he will judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. He will judge with equality. Isaiah chapter, the same chapter, it reads like this: the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the young goat, and the calf and the lion and the fattened calf together, and a little child shall lead them. And we can't even imagine this, right? A child leading all these wild animals. Verse 8, the nursing child shall play over the hole of the cobra. Man, we cannot imagine this. And last it says, the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. In Galatians 3:28, it also says, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is no slave nor free. There is, in our context, there is no Malayali, there's no Tamilian, there is no white, there's no black. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? And that's what it says, that God will bring all this. Can you imagine this particular situation where is perfect? And I believe this, that God, when Jesus Christ comes back, he will establish this. And you know why this is? This is because he paid for the sins of the world. Only he can do this, right? He gave up his life for our sins. We talk about Maha-Bali, and in fact, it's a Maha-Balidan, right? He gave his head for, it's a mythological story. But Jesus Christ actually offered his life for us, right? He gave, because of his Maha love he had for us, he offered himself for us. And because of that, he gives us this joyous thing to come to his presence and to enjoy him, right? And because of his death and because of his resurrection, he gives us victory over the grave. And I think this is so beautiful, right? And if there is a perfect future, I'll tell you, this is only through Jesus Christ. And my simple question is this: don't we all want this? Right? Don't we all want this? Yeah. If there's anyone listening who has not experienced this like beautiful relationship with Jesus Christ, who offers peace, true equality, I'll tell you one thing: just believe in Jesus Christ. Believe that he died. Believe that he rose again for our sins. Believe that you are a sinner and only he can save you. And I can promise you one thing very, very, very clearly, that even during this pandemic, you will have peace. So
Absolutely.
It's your choice. You just have to just believe.
Wow, that was so wonderful, Godly. Before we let you go, let's listen to this third song, Confidence.
I'm gonna sing and shout and shake the wall. Won't stop until I see them fall. I'm gonna stand up, step back when you call. Jesus, Jesus. I'm gonna sing and shout and shake the wall. Won't stop until I see them fall. I'm gonna stand up, step back when you call. Jesus. Give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David, Lord, be my defense, so I can face my giants with confidence. Yeah! Give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David, Lord, be my defense, so I can face my giants with confidence. I'll face my giants with confidence.
I'll face my giants with confidence. Well, it is indeed a gigantic topic that we are talking about. Jacob G, യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഗോഡ്ലി പറഞ്ഞ വളരെ പ്രസക്തമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്. ആ മഹാബലിദാനം യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ലോക ജനതയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടി ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പൂർണ്ണ ബലിയായി സ്വന്തം ജീവനെ തന്നെ അർപ്പിച്ച യേശു ക്രിസ്തു, അല്ലേ?
അതെ, യേശുക്രിസ്തുവിന്റെ കാലത്ത് മാത്രമേ ഈ നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ തിരിച്ചു വരത്തുള്ളൂ. സന്തോഷവും സമാധാനവും കണ്ണുനീരും പട്ടിണിയും ദാരിദ്ര്യവും ഒന്നുമില്ലാത്ത ഒരു നാട്.
Absolutely, absolutely. യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ അവിടെയാണ് നമുക്കതിൻ്റെ പൂർത്തീകരണം കാണുവാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കുന്നത്. Now, dear listeners, thank you so much for being with us, but please do stay with us today for a little more while, because we are going to ask Godly our final question. And Godly, I would like to ask you this before you go. What is the final word that you would like to share with our listeners?
All those listening to me, just one question. So this Onam season, will you think what will give you true equality? What will give you true peace? What will give you true satisfaction? And I can promise you this, that it is only Jesus Christ. And only through him, there is everlasting life, there's everlasting peace, there's everlasting equality, and only he can bring about that. And so the question is, will you believe in him?
Thank you. Thank you for that. Dear listeners, those of you who are listening to us, there is a time coming when there is going to be indeed true equality, true peace, forever joy, forever happiness in the kingdom of that eternal King. Thank you so much for coming on air today, Godly.
Thank you so much for having me, and stay tuned, people. And I will see you soon.
Dear listeners, do join us tomorrow for our Transformational Tuesdays, where we have another wonderful guest joining us. We have some wonderful guests lined up for the whole of the coming weeks. So please do send us your feedbacks. Please do send us your song requests. If there is a song that you would love to hear on the radio, please send it to us and we will love to play it for you. Well, that's it for today. This is Bob and RJ Jacob G signing out. Goodbye, good night, and God be with you.